Okay, so sit yourself on your lift. And then just come into cross-legged position. So just have a little wriggle about. Feel that you're sitting evenly. Hold onto your knees, lift, and open the chest. Drive the spine upwards. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just look down at the floor. Look at something that's not moving. Just focus on the in-breath as it enters and as it exits. Just observing how the body accommodates the breath. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Maintain that focus. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. So observe how the breath accommodates, the body accommodates the breath. Observing how the breath accommodates the body. Very gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spending a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Hold on to your knees and lift and elevate the spine upwards. Take a good, strong, deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs across, your shoulders across. Listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then come back to the center. Hold on to your knees, lift and open the chest. Take a deep inhalation. Feeling the body accommodate in the breath, and then come around to the left. Just observing how the body accommodates the breath. How the breath accommodates the body, how the breath accommodates the action. And then gently come back to center. Just stretch your legs out using a belt if you've got one handy. Just stretch the legs away, so try not to trap the tops of the backs of your legs on the lift, and then put the belt around your feet and elevate the spine upwards. Slide the heels as far away from your hips as you can. So make that your first action. As you go, observe how the body accommodates the breath. How the out breath can be converted into power and energy for the pose. So push your out breath into your heels, lengthening away from the hips. Lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards, draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Press the shins into the floor. Turn the thighs and the shins inwards. Lift the spine upwards. Pulling firmly against the belt, lift in the chest. And then gently release. And then come off your lift, but just come into cross legs. So just have, just sit yourself in cross legs. If you really struggle to lift, you can sit on a folded blanket. Just get a couple of blocks for the sides of your hips. And then come back into swastikasana or half padmasana. So lifting out of the spine. Take a deep inhalation. And then reach around the underside of the knee. Bring your elbow down onto the block. You can go all the way to the floor if you want to. Bring the top hand onto the hip and then turn the chest. Just turn the chest up to face the ceiling, trying to maintain the extension from the armpit of the left side down into the hip, so that the hip on the left side stays evenly weighted. So turn the chest up to face the ceiling, trying to press the left seat bone down. And then come back to the center. Hold on to your knees, just observe the difference in the feeling between the two sides of the flank, and then come over to the other side. Reach around the front of the underside of the knee. Bring your hand onto your hip. Try and draw that buttock bone down, that right buttock bone down. Lift and open the chest and turn. Using the out breath to power the turn. So lift the chest and turn. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards. And then going over to the right side again. Just again trying to keep that hip down, turn the chest, and this time reach up and over, trying to keep that left seat bone down, using the out breath to encourage the length from the armpit, chest into the hip. Observing the breath. Looking under the armpit like you're doing parsva. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees. Just observe the difference in the side ribs and the side flank. And then come over to the left side again, turning the chest, reaching up, but reaching down with that right seat bone, lifting up and over. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. So we're going to come forwards. If you've got a bad back, just stay at this first stage. Don't overwork your spine as you come forwards. Otherwise, just hold onto your knees and really see if you can elevate the sternum bone upwards so the shoulder blades draw in. Take a good deep inhalation and then come forward, keeping the head lifted, keeping the chest lifted, and then reach the hands forwards and walk your hands away. Have the fingertips on the floor, lift the palms away from the floor, lengthen from the wrists into the armpits, from the armpits into the wrists. Breathing evenly. Observing the body, accommodating the breath and how that changes. Are there changes as you do forward bends? Come back to the center. Just feel that quietness that comes over the brain as you come out of a forward bend. Swap the crossing of your legs. So if you're doing padagusthasana, do it the other way around. If you're doing normal cross legs, do it the other way around. To just feel at first the kind of inequity in the seat bones when you swap around. So just roll over, move the buttock flesh out to the side on both sides, just so that you can feel that you level out the seat bones. Lift and open the chest. Observe if there's anything different in the way you extend upwards. If there's anything different in the backs of the thighs, connection to the floor. And then again, come forwards, keeping the chest lifted, keeping the head lifted, reaching forwards, being on fingertips. Lengthening from the wrists into the armpits, armpits into the wrists. Breathing evenly, deeply listening to the sound of the breath, keeping the front chest lifting up. So it's very tempting to bring your head down, but Keep the front chest lifting, keep that sternum bone lifting towards the chin. And then bring yourself back to the center point. Lift and open the chest. Breathe evenly and deeply. Again, come over into parsva sukhasana. So bring your elbow down onto the block, turn the chest, and then reach over. Maintaining connection between the seat bones, evenness between the seat bones. And then come back to the center, just come over to the other side. So parsva sukhasana. And then come back to the center. Bring your feet into baddha konasana. So the soles of the feet are together. Just hold on to the big toes if you can, or if you can't reach, then you can slide a belt underneath the feet and hold on to that wherever you can hold on. Just press the inner heels in towards each other and then lift and open the chest, almost as though you're kind of going to lean back a little, but don't let the feet come off the floor. Lift the spine upwards, lift the sternum bone up towards the ceiling. Breathing evenly and deeply. Again, if you've got a problem with your back, just stay at this stage, working to lift that sternum bone upwards. Otherwise, see if you can come forwards a little. But again, the temptation is to try and come down with your head, but that will make you round your back. So come forwards with that sternum bone, lifting the sternum up towards the chin. Observe how the body accommodates the breath. Let go of your feet and then reach forwards. Keep the chest lifted in the same way, so don't be tempted to drop your head. Keep the head lifted, keep the sternum bone lifting towards the head. Keep the seat bones down as you come forwards. So lengthening the lumbar spine down into the sacrum, into the tailbone. Observe how the body accommodates the breath. And then walk your hands back, hold onto the big toes, lift, and open the chest. Keep the feet together, hold onto the shins. Just observe how the lift is different. And then turn to the right side to bring your left hand onto the outside of the top of the right foot. Bring your back of your back hand firmly into the floor. Press into the floor so that you can elevate the spine. And then turn. And then come back to the center. Grip around the shins, lift and open the chest, driving the spine upwards. And then turn to the left, elevating the spine upwards, turning the chest. And then come back to the center. Pull your knees in towards each other and then stretch your legs out in front. And then just come down onto your back for a moment just to rest out your spine. Come into supta, padagusthasana. Interlock the fingers over your head. Turn the palms all the way out and then lengthen the arms along the floor. You can use supports underneath your hands if there's stiffness in your shoulders. You can use supports underneath the thighs if there's stiffness in your blocks, in your hips. So we're working on the floor. So connect to the floor. Feel your physical connection to the floor. Extend into the arms, extend into the feet. Bring dynamic action into this pose rather than allowing it to become passive. Observing how the body accommodates the breath. How the breath accommodates the body. Release your arms and then swap the interlock of your fingers. Doing the unnatural interlock, turning the palms all the way out and then lengthening the arms along the floor. So the body accommodates the breath. And then we push the out breath into the physical body. And notice how the breath accommodates the body. So the body accommodates the breath. The feeling of that is fairly clear because it's in the chest, but the breath accommodating the body, push the breath into the tips of the toes, into the tips of the fingers. And then come back to just release the arms back over the head and then just let go of the interlock of the fingers. Rest your hands on your lower ribs. Relax for a moment. And then draw your knees together, pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from top to bottom, from side to side. Just easing out any tensions in your back. And then rock yourself up and come into a seated position. If you've got obstructions at the sides of you, then just see if you can move them out of the way. So we can do supta padagusthasana. So again, staying on the floor, but doing kind of similar poses to trikonasana. So come down onto the floor. Have a belt where you can reach it, and then lift the seat bones and encourage the seat bones to draw down towards your heels. So just have the feet close to the hips for the moment. Feel that you can broaden out the abdominal flesh so that the abdominal walls draw down into the floor. Have the feet together, have the knees together. Just breathe evenly. Take hold of the belt. Actually move the feet more like hip width apart or seat bone width apart. And then see if you can shuffle yourself into your feet a little bit more. So the soles of the feet are pressing firmly down into the floor. Broaden the abdomen so that the abdomen feels really firmly placed down into the floor. Keep your left leg where it is, and then bend up your right leg and then hook the belt around your foot and then bring that leg to 12 o'clock. Don't try and bring it more than 12 o'clock. So just observe, is the abdomen broad? Are the abdominal walls pressing down into the floor? Can you straighten this lifted leg? So push from the hip into the heel, like we were doing in Dandasana at the beginning. Use the breath, use the out breath to lengthen from the hip into the heel. So it's as though we're inflating the leg. And then push the heel of the left foot into the floor and then slide the heel along the mat until the leg straightens. Keeping the heel down and then tadasanaizing that leg and then feeling that you can lengthen it into both legs, push in the breath into both legs. Tadasanaizing both legs, turning the thighs inwards. Okay, take hold of both ends of the belt with your right hand as close to the foot as you can, and then rest your left hand on your left hip. And then we're going to bring this right leg out to the side, bending your elbow out in line with your shoulder. So the aim isn't to bring this leg onto the floor, it's to just stretch it out to the side, big toe in line with your ear. Keeping that left leg really firm. So feel the stretch of the hamstrings. Keeping that left leg really firm, maintaining that tadasana action in the leg. Let the breath accommodate the pose. And then just bring that leg back to the center. Just hold on to both ends of the belt with each hand. And then unhook the foot and then just bring that leg back down onto the floor and then relax into the floor. And then observe that that right leg feels really quite significantly different to the left leg. And then bend your knees, get hold of the shins, and then plant the feet as close to the seat bones as you can. Again, just shuffle into your heels, just so that you really kind of plant the feet down firmly. Keep the right foot where it is, lift the left leg, and then lift that up towards the ceiling. Keep the right foot flat into the floor. Give yourself enough rope so that you can straighten the leg. So can you tighten the kneecap? Can you turn the thigh? Power up the body with the in-breath. Power the body with the out-breath. Power up the body with the in-breath. Power the body with the out-breath. Just observe, are you broadening the abdomen, bringing the abdominal walls down into the floor? And then slide the right heel away. Keep the heel always in contact with the floor as you slide it away, so that the leg is really active as you extend it away. And then straighten that leg, tadasanaise that leg. Power up the body with the in-breath, power the body with the out-breath. Working to keep that lifted leg straight. And then take hold of both ends of the belt with your left hand, keeping that left leg straight. Bring your right hand onto the onto the hip, and then bend your left elbow out in line with your shoulder as you bring the leg out to the side, maintaining the straightness of the leg. Powering up the body with the in-breath, powering the body with the out-breath. Maintaining tadasana of the leg that's on the floor. And then bring that leg back to the center, and then just release your leg and just let the legs rest down into the floor. Just relax into the floor for a moment or two and just observe how the legs feel a little more even. Just breathe evenly, observing how perhaps the legs feel as though they're lighter than they were before you started. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then rock yourself up into a seated position. Good. And then we're going to come back into supta virasana. So if you've got a bolster, then have a bolster for behind you. If you haven't got a bolster, just pile up some cushions. They need to be reasonably substantial just to kind of help kind of elevate the spine. So just get your bolsters set up, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. So you've got that lift for behind you. It's gone dark in here, hasn't it? So You've got your bolster behind you. Just bring the knees together and the feet are apart. And then get your thumbs right into the backs of your knees. And then encourage the backs of the calves to draw away from the backs of the knees and out to the side. And then just sit back in between your feet. So you might not necessarily reach the floor. Don't be sitting on the bolster at this stage. So have your seat bones away from the bolster. So this stage is fairly intense as it is, isn't it? So you might just want to stay here. Just work to lift and open the chest. So lift and open the chest, and then bend your elbows. So have your fingers pointed towards your feet. Bend your elbows so that the elbows can come down onto the floor. Lifting the chest along the bolster, and then extend yourself along the bolster. Now, if your head rolls back, then grab yourself a block. So if this is not comfortable, Andrew, just bring yourself, so give yourself more lift underneath the back if you can, and a block underneath your head. If this isn't comfortable at all, then do supta baddha konasana, but using the lifts underneath the body. So just that, so just build it up a little bit. Good. Okay, good. So it's, sometimes you just need a little bit more lift underneath. So this is fairly intense in the quads, isn't it? But I want to pick up the seat bones for a moment, pick up the buttocks off the floor, and then lengthen them down towards the backs of your knees. So lengthen the buttocks skin down towards the knees, so that you broaden at the abdomen. Draw the abdomen broadly, drawing the abdominal walls down towards the floor. And then soften. Extend your arms up, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then extend your arms along the floor. Well, it won't be along the floor, they'll be hanging in the air. If it's too strong in your hips, put something underneath your hands to support your shoulders. Otherwise, just let the body stretch out. So supta virasana. The aim is that if you can, to keep your knees together, because they'll want to fall apart a little. And bring the arms back. Swap the interlock of your fingers, and then again lengthen your arms along the floor, or along the, just lengthen your arms away from the body. And then release your arms, and then just bring your arms onto the floor, to the sides of the body. Just spend a little time just focusing on your breath. Letting the body accommodate the breath. Letting the breath accommodate the body. Pushing your out breath into areas of discomfort. or intensity. And then we're going to gently bring ourselves out of the pose. So hold onto your feet and then push your elbows into the floor. Lift the chest first, push your elbows into the floor, so edge your elbows underneath your shoulders so that you start to lift the chest. And then try not to poke your head forwards as you come up. Bring your hands onto the floor, push the chest up towards the ceiling, and then bring yourself up into all fours. It's not going to be massively comfortable, as I'm sure you're now aware. Just come onto all fours, and then we're going to do just a narrow dog down, just to stretch out our legs. So turn your toes under, and then gently bring yourself up into dog down, just observing and accommodating the legs. You won't want to straighten, just respect that, don't force them. Just let the legs gently recover. And although we normally resist bringing the heels down, see if you can bring the heels down just to refresh the action of the legs. Straighten the legs as soon as you can, just to really refresh the action of the legs. And then when your legs have recovered, just come down onto your knees and then just sit yourself in cross legs. Just come back into cross legs. And then hold around your knees, lift and open the chest. Just observe the energy that you have released through the back bending action, the energy that's in the legs, in the quads, and in the chest. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, letting the breath accommodate the body. Breathing into the lungs, pushing the out breath into the body. Breathing down into the abdomen, pushing the air into the body. Breathing down into the tips of the toes. Breathing out into the body. Tips of the toes, tips of the fingers, top of the head. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. Just feeling levelness at the hips. Breathing into the body, breathing out into the body. And then gently come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. Drive your spine upwards. Breathe evenly and deeply, looking at something that doesn't move. Just ending the sequence where we began. Observing the difference in the body. And then gently bring yourself, just stretch yourself along the floor. Get a blanket for your head. Just move your equipment out of the way so that you can stretch out. And then just guide yourself down in a straight line, down the center of the mat. Just hold on to the sides of the mat and then lift the legs up for viparita karanhi for a moment. So breathing evenly and deeply. We're going to run over just a little bit. I hope that's okay. Just a gentle inversion. And then release your legs. Just stretch your legs out in a straight line. Just make sure you're in a really good straight line. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing upwards, let your feet fall apart. And then just focus on deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Just surrendering into the straight line of the floor. Allowing yourself to release the muscles of the arms and of the legs. Gently sinking into the floor, into the mat. Observing the feeling of lightness that rises to the top of the skin. distributing that feeling evenly throughout the body. And then when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. And then pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just giving yourself just a grounding massage on the spine. And then very gently roll yourself over onto your right side. And then straighten out the top leg and then come back into a seated position. And then come back into cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Take some deep inhalations, drawing the breath down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice this morning. Good, positive, healthy flow, clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've given yourself a good level of energy from the floor work that we've done today, just that good kind of quietness of energy that comes from the extensions. Thank you very much for joining me.